Morning, folks. It's me again, Shannon Fox here, Devoted Patriots Channel. I'm out here in the yard doing my junking thing as usual on a Saturday. That's what I do on the weekend. Every weekend, I try to have one load ready for us to go to the scrap yard. Keeps me working 6 days a week like that, and I enjoy it. I get a lot of my aggression out smashing these machines, breaking stuff down. I'm gonna go ahead and start tearing stuff down. I've got a lot to do today. I mean, a ton to do. So until a few people get on here, I'll wait on the whole tutorial thing. I'll just. Oh, I got somebody on already. Perfect. Like I said, I just jumped out here about an hour ago. Been cleaning metal. Been doing a little bit of sorting and separating all my different metals. Trying to keep the cat out from underneath my feet, which that's the hardest part. And I just been trying to figure out how much money I'm gonna make. I'm pretty good at guessing this. At times, I have to buy this stuff just to make it easy because gas is so high. Running around hunting for it is, unless you know where to find it, is almost a waste of time. But me, I'm one of those people that will see it stockpiled up somewhere, and I'll go in and talk to the business owner and offer him what I think is fair for it. And this guy actually caught a guy in his. The stuff was on the side of a guy's house where I was delivering a washer next door, and I just went over there and knocked on the door, and sure enough was able to make a deal. And I ended up spending about $200 in the last week on two different buys, just picking up scrap metal or buying scrap metal. Plus I picked up three or four and all this pile here of 10. Just every time I run across it on a curb, I throw it in the truck. I can go to the store a lot of times and come back with a washing machine or who knows what. My whole yard is a mess. There's no doubt about it. It's a wreck today. I get it completely clean and looking good, and the city's not mad at me. And then a day like today happens, and yesterday, this didn't happen overnight. It took me 2 days to get all this stuff here, two trips after work. But it's well worth it. This morning, I've already cleaned. Get off of my feet. Sorry, my cats are just crying. Anyway, I don't know if y'all can see this, but this here is about 75 pounds of wire, 60 pounds of wire, just guessing. And that's about $100 and something. So that's half of what I've invested already back. That's number one wire here in the blue. This other here is number two wire. The difference is number one wire is like your house wire, your Romex, anything that's heavy enough you can bend it and it stay in that shape. That's number one. That's your better grade. That's your $1.80 a pound wire. This here is what you call your number two grade. You can't really shape it because it's made of strings of wire instead of solid pieces. This here's my stainless bucket. Stainless will trick you. You literally have to check every piece of stainless unless you just know for a fact that item is stainless. A lot of times they'll make trash cans and dumpsters and stuff out of stainless. And even this freezer right here behind me, it looks like it's all stainless. Well, the fact of the matter is the only thing that's stainless is the outside shell. None of the inside guts or anything is stainless. That main shield's not stainless, but it looks stainless. So you definitely have to check it with a magnet. For those who don't know, a magnet tells a story about all your precious metal, your copper, your brass, your stainless, your aluminum. They do not stick to a magnet like tin does. These little buckets here will be brass and stuff. This bucket here, I've always got a bucket of stuff that I need to finish cleaning. Stuff like this here. This is a brass fixture, but it's got iron on it. I have to crank this off of here with a vice grip. Stuff like this is your money. I don't know if you can see this or not. This is a piece of brass plumbing. Got a little rubber boot on it. I got to take the 5/16 and take that off there, and then this is clean. This is $2 a pound, and this stuff is really heavy. And the older the brass is and the copper is, the thicker and heavier it is. Yesterday, I cut home and I cut about 40 of these boxes off, these electrical boxes, which ended up with this pile of clean wire here. That's what you have to do when somebody is gutting a house. You usually have to go back and clean anything that's not a wire off of there. And then you throw it in the big junk pile. But you always got a bucket of stuff you need to clean, and instead of breaking down each machine and cleaning each little part, I just end up making piles of things that I need to do. Like this big compressor right here. Each one of these air conditioners has a compressor in it. This one here in the center's got one. These things are about 80 or 100 pounds. They're full of copper. And when they're big like this, they are worth cutting them open and cutting the copper windings out. But it is a lot of work and it's a lot of mess, and you kind of need a chop saw. So I don't mess with it. They're still worth a lot more than 10 weight as they are. They sell for about 22 cents a pound, 24 cents a pound when the 10 is only 11. So they pay you about double 10 weight for them. And so that comes out of a decent size air conditioner. That's about $12, $14 just for that piece. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to cut all this copper off of these ends here. Now this air conditioner here, I've already took all the 5/16 screws all the way around it. And there's probably about 30 of them, 5/16 screws. You just zip them out real quick with the drill. And I'll get to breaking that down here in a minute. This here, like I said, is a big stainless thing. Looks like it's stainless. It's a little refrigerator, come out of a commercial kitchen. Well, I've already took the liberty of checking with a magnet and seeing how much of this is really not stainless. You know, this face is stainless, but it's got styrofoam and wood, so you're not going to get too much trouble to peel the stainless here. This here you would think would be stainless, but it doesn't actually touch the food, so it's not necessary by code. So it's tin, which is a cheaper metal. Stainless is made out of 4 metals, including cobalt, which is very expensive, very limited. And so the only time they use stainless on things is for like food grade or medical grade. Now I took the liberty of breaking this. There was a stainless shield in here, a fake stainless shield in here with a fan blower, and I zipped it out. It was about 4 screws. Take the covers off. This here is a coil. This is copper and aluminum. Even though it doesn't look it, this is copper and aluminum. It doesn't stick with the magnet. And it actually attaches to a compressor down here, which is just like that big black compressor I showed you a minute ago, except for a smaller version. With all this copper here, this is all copper windings. I'm going to take the bolt cutters and chop all this off, but I took the liberty of taking these screws out here, and this whole tray literally slides out, so you can get to it much easier. And these machines, I flip them on their head, roll them over on their back, whatever needs to be done to get to the part I need to next. I've got, it looks like 3 air conditioner units, what you call condenser units, and they're big ones. This here's the biggest one. That's the money. That's a $100 bill. And then I got another one back here that is pretty nice too. That's a thick one. But like I said, I buy scrap. Now there's another type condenser. It's not a condenser, but it's what you call a closet unit. A lot of times they have a blower in them. It's one of these things right here. This tall thing here, come out of somebody's closet. And what's in here is something called an A coil. And here's the blower. And so when the air conditioning when I take this panel off here, take all these screws off this thing, I'll be able to slide this whole piece out, and it's 2 A coils. As a matter of fact, this right here is the exact same thing, but I've done slid this A coil out of it. I don't know if y'all can see that, all right? See this thing right down there? This thing right here? That's the money. Now, I still got to clean this. I could sell it like this, but I lose money. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this metal shielding off, unzip all that, unzip all this, and then I take my Sawzall, and I just start cutting all these copper links off. I put like a tarp down or something and catch all the little loops. That way I don't have to pick them up one by one. I can just grab them up, scoop them up like a drop cloth type situation. But you see, this is number 1 and number 2 copper here on this thing. This thing's got a lot of copper loops, and these coils pay very good. They pay anywhere from $1.50 to about $1.75 a pound. And so I've got condenser coil, A coil, which comes out of that closet unit. And then here's another going to be a smaller A coil, and it's right here. It's this thing just like that. I got to gut it out. I got to take about about 40 screws loose, which is not a big deal. I got scrap all over the yard, but I try to keep it organized. My pile in the center of the yard, all this stuff here, that's my 10 pile. That's the stuff I don't need to touch again until it's time to load it on the truck. You can have a whole truckload of 10 and make $75 or $100, but you can have a bucket of brass or one of these tubs of brass and have $100. And so you try to get as much of the precious metals out of this stuff as you can to make as much as you can off of it. Now, if I was doing it for a living instead of just kind of part-time, I would go more extensive with my cleaning on this stuff. Like these compressors here, I would take all 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 or 4 of these compressors about this size, and they're gonna pay, like I said, about $12 a piece, as is, just to sell them like that. But if I took the time, cut them open, separate the iron from the copper, chop the copper from the windings, I'd end up making about $20, $22. Now, if I had 10 of them, I would probably do it. But when I only got a couple, it's just too much of a mess. Just my opinion. And it's a time factor. You always got to weigh your time. Like, matter of fact, I got a big, huge refrigerator right here that I put on the back of my truck. This one refrigerator squats my truck. It's a double door, 4 foot wide. But that thing has got a compressor on it too. Anything that cools, refrigerates, has a compressor on it and has a coil on it and has copper lines, has electrical wires, most of the time has a fan. And that's true for a lot of different type of appliances. You end up making, if you separate the stuff right, you end up with your wire money, your motor money, your copper tubing money, your compressor money, your coil money, and then you still got your 10 weight. And so you make 5 or 6 different weights off each machine, and you just pile it up. I'm going to go in and probably this evening, 3 or 4 o'clock, we get done. It's going to take me several hours to do this, actually. I'm pretty fast at it. I can honestly say I worked for 2 or 3 people in the past just on a ranch way back years ago in Dallas, and that's all I did all day was took power tools and zip machines apart. The guy would buy them by the trailer load, and there was about 5 of us there that all day long, this is all we did is move stuff around with heavy equipment and break it down. Oh, I got some people in the comments. Let me set this down and see what people are saying. Okay, I can barely see my comments. Here we go. I just lost my comments. I'm still learning how to use this live thing on my phone. Let me check it out. Okay, there we go. There's the chat. Hey, everybody. What's up, Paul? What's up, Wayne? Good to see everybody. I'm glad some people showed up. I didn't want to be talking to myself out here. I feel crazy enough sometimes. Wow. Let's put all messages are visible. Perfect. Okay, I had to change it. Hey, Lynn, how you doing? I'm just out here in the backyard playing, getting some aggression out, getting to zip some stuff apart. That's fun for me. You know, when I'm mad at the world behind the politics and I'm trying not to let it show, I find a way to deal with my aggressions in life and chasing junk, making money, just out there hustling, trying to make extra money, even if I got to buy the junk like I did here. Probably half of this junk I paid for, but I don't know. It just helps. Something about staying busy helps me stay sane in this crazy times we're living in, and that's just my opinion, my take on it. But this big air conditioner here, like I said, this sucker here is a monster. I've had them bigger, but this one here will probably pay me about $100 when I get done with this thing. That's the plan. And so, like I said, I got a little money here and big money here. And when you get done, you end up with half a truckload of stuff that goes on the small scale. Then you end up with another half truckload and a half of stuff that goes to the back where you sell for, used to be $8 or $9 100 pounds. Right now it's $11.50 100 pounds, which is very good. But I really should probably hold this stuff another 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because I know the metal's fixing to go up again because of the gas prices. But in 2 or 3 weeks, I will have to move a lot of this stuff on the porch because I'm worried about people stealing it. And then just my landlord would be griping, the city be driving by, and I got to get this stuff off my property as quick as I can, is what I figured out. I used to pile the stuff up and pile it on my little trailer over there, but I still end up getting hassled behind it. Let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can get a place where I can set this camera up. I don't know how many people here actually know anything about junking, or probably know more than I do about it, but I did it for 10 years in Dallas for a living. It's when I wasn't living right, but I was still out earning my living, being an honest human being, just out there working when I couldn't get a real job at one point, and turned junking into a real job. I started making about $50,000-$60,000 a year. Don't tell the IRS. Just kidding. But at any rate, I just decided I liked it more than remodeling houses and roofing and all the things that I had already had a lot of experience in. Wayne says, I've done a little junking throughout my life. It can be fun. Sometimes it can pay a little bit. Yeah, sometimes it's hard work. It's rough on your hands, I give you that. Like I said, I've been cutting these wires. You can only use a pair of pliers about 2 hours and your hands start hurting. It's just a lot of cutting wire sometimes. That's one of the things my wife likes to do. My wife gets out here and helps me. When she gets done in the house this morning, straightening up or whatever she does, take her an hour or two to get motivated, get finished with what she needs to, I guess, catch up on in her mind. She'll be out here and she'll be helping me. Most of the time, she helps me. Sometimes she doesn't, and I don't mind either way. I enjoy this. I enjoy getting outside and enjoying the sun and getting tripped by my cats and listening to the birds scream at me. It's just a change of pace. You know, I got a 9-to-5 job, and it's all right, but it's not everything. You know, but this junking I've always done. My dad, I guess, taught it to me. I didn't realize he taught it to me. I just watched him do it my whole life, and at one point I had a job. This is a true story. I had a job working at the temporary service, and I was making like $7-8 an hour. Wait, this is way back when, 10-15 years ago, at least 15 years ago. But I got there a little late, and I didn't get an opportunity to get a job that day. Somebody else done took my spot. And so what I ended up doing is I had to leave there and head back to the house with no money coming in that day. And on my way out of Garland, Texas, where I was staying, or not far from where I was staying, where the temporary service was, I left there and I picked up a refrigerator and a washing machine on somebody's curb because I knew there was a scrapyard in Balk Springs on my way home. And so I just started zigzagging the street since I already had a half a load, and that was the very first day I decided I probably don't need to go back to work for that temporary service, because I made $46 that day, which was more than I was going to make at the temporary service after 8 hours being gone, 10 or 11 hours to make 7 or 8 hours pay. There was a lot of hassle going through the temporary service, and it just didn't pay right. And I just decided if I can make 40 or 50 a day junking, and this is way back when, I'll be all right. And it took me about 5 years before I wanted to take another job again. I ended up remodeling with another guy, and that's another story, but doing junking on the side and remodeling. But I end up preferring to work for myself, and in Dallas, I work for myself full-time junking. Here, I just do it part-time, but I do enjoy the junking much more than anything else I do. I do enjoy the podcasting as well, don't get me wrong. But there's something about breaking this stuff down, just kind of eases the mind. Just like I got a big red axe over there, it weighs 14 pounds. It's called a splitting maul. This thing is very heavy, hurts your back, but when I flip these air conditioners upside down, and they got 4 big bolts in them holding them compressors down, you could take a ratchet and a screwdriver and crank on them things for 15 minutes to get all them bolts out, and they're really long-winded. Or you can flip them upside down and hit them once or twice a piece with that big red axe, and bolts shoot out. Point is, there's so much to learn about this junking, more than you can imagine, and I learned it somewhere along the way. And I learned that if you know where to find it, because you're smart enough to figure out where the trash routes are, you got a decent vehicle, you got access to a trailer, you got access to tools, you know how to sort, separate, and clean this stuff, recognize where your money is, what is your money, take the effort to go find out if that refrigerator's sitting on the curb, if you can have it. Just those little things. I don't pass up any junk in life. I don't care if I'm on my way to a wedding. If I see junk on the curb, I'm probably going to stop and get it. That's just the way I've always been. And it's always been beneficial that way. Some weekends I don't make $1 junking because I'm not trying. But then there's some weeks that I'm like, I'm going to get me some junk this weekend. And I end up with what I got here now, a yard full of appliances. I've got, looks like about 8 or 10 pieces here, refrigerators, air conditioners, wall unit air conditioners with the A coils, um, miscellaneous tin. But it's fun. I enjoy the hunt. You know, I used to, when I worked in Dallas, doing this full time and making more money doing it then because I had my routes down. I had my clients. I had people that I could go buy their junk from them regular. If I had no place to find junk, I could go buy it. And that's one of the things I realized. Instead of hunting junk this day and time, I would rather spot it, go ask about it, offer them a fair price, and then bring it home and break it down and put the labor and the time in on it and make money. You know, like I said, I spent about $200 on this load, $195. You know, I bought this like some wire from one guy, some copper from one guy, and bought all these units from another guy. And my wife's like, "Oh my God, you spent $200 on junk this week?" Yeah, but we're gonna probably be at about $500, 400 and something bucks when we leave scrapyard, and it's only gonna take me about 4 or 5 hours actual work. I mean, getting out here with the drill and finishing what I started this morning. Like I said, I've already got my biggest part of my wire broke down. The #1 wire, which is Romex, which comes out of houses and stuff. That pays the best. Now, once the wire gets about that big and people take it up there with still the coating on it, they're getting robbed because they're still only getting wire weight when it's 90% copper. Me, I strip it anytime it's big around as a pencil or more. I take a knife to it and just run a knife down it. Get it hot, leave it out in the sun, run a knife down it, and it cuts like butter with a good knife. But at any rate, I'm gonna get over here and see if I can read some of these comments, get in a different light. Let me show you what's going on at my feet for anybody paying attention. You see that down here? I got a cat that cannot get off my leg. I got another cat that's playing in the scrap. Yeah, they're fun. Guess they'll stay out of the way. And they're hungry. I fed them a little bit this morning. I guess I need to feed them some more. Or maybe they're just freaked out because their backyard is all full of machines. Let me get over here. Let me show y'all what all the tools that I use doing this junking. Sawzall, very last tool I use every time. Like these coils, these compressors, these copper tubing that has solder joints on it that I want to cut off because I want to separate my copper by #1 and #2. If y'all don't know that, copper #1 is clean copper without any solder joints on it, no brass, no, it's just clean. And then anything else with like elbows, solder joints, fittings, that stuff is #2 copper, and it's about 30 cents difference in the price in the pound. It is worth it to me to separate it just because it's quick and easy. You throw it in the vise, slap a Sawzall or bolt cutters on it, and falls apart. That's I guess part of. You hear this cat down here? Oh, he's weaving between my legs. Cat's trying to get kicked, I guess. I don't know. I don't kick the cats, but they do get under my feet. That's a fact. But yeah, this is our tools right here. This is what we do. We just break out all the tools, jump out here with what we know we're going to need. Not actually that many tools, but you got to have big tools. You got to have bolt cutters. You got to have Sawzall. You got a sledgehammer. And then this big red thing, that's that one hitter quitter. That's a red wood split conditioner up with that thing in about 3 hits. It's a big tool, but sometimes big tools is quicker. And that's what it's all about. I enjoy breaking stuff down. Uh-oh. Hey there. How's everybody doing? I see more people in the chats. This is great. I hear my wife coming outside. These cats must be hungry. I fed them just a little bit this morning, but they are just fine at my feet. I'm going to set this camera down just for a sec. Oh, tripped over a cord. I got to cut that cord before I end up causing an accident out here. Y'all just give me just a half a second. Let me see what I can do here. See if I can. Every appliance has a cord on it. take closest pair of wire cutters, snips, and pull the cord off of it. I don't usually cut the cord to the last, because if I cut the cord and then I want to move the thing around, I don't have a tail to drag it by. If that makes any sense. And there's also electric motors here on in these fans, but you got to take the fan blades off the electric motors to get electric motor weight, which pays about 3 times what tin does. So it's worth it. If I did it full time, I would clean this stuff 100%. But me, I try to get the coils out. I try to get the copper out. I try to get the copper as clean as I can get it. My brass is actually my favorite metal, just because it pays the best, and it pays almost as good as copper, and it's very, very heavy. And like any plumbing, it's either going to be copper tubing, like the lines, and any fittings is usually, or faucets or anything like that, it's usually brass. But a lot of times you end up with die-cast aluminum on your brass faucets and things, and so you really got to know the difference between die-cast and brass. Brass, if you scratch it, it's a yellow color. Die-cast is shiny, almost like a plastic. Now, these are the 4 bolts that hold this fan on this air conditioner unit. I done took the liberty of breaking this air conditioner unit down a few minutes ago. At least zipped out about 90% of the screws around the shell. I don't know if y'all can see. Let me see here. All right, 4 little screws, and the AC unit's fan is loose. Makes it easy. Now, people prefer to wear gloves. I'm not one of those people. It's not my thing. Never has been. I got jerked out of a truck one time because I was throwing an air conditioner over the side of a truck. And truth be known, my glove got caught on that air conditioner, so when it rolled out of the truck, so did I. I got literally jerked over the side of the truck. I realized that day I don't prefer gloves. I'd rather just have tough hands. And that seems to work better for me, which I do get injured, don't get me wrong. Me and my wife get out here and end up bleeding a lot of times. And that's for no other reason than you got to be patient with this stuff more than you realize. I'm sorry, I'm adjusting this camera so much. I'm having a limp camera tripod. I don't know what's going on, but it's acting stupid. Anyway, I'm glad y'all showed up, sticking around. I don't know how many people want to learn anything about junking, but I forgot a screw. And for best, quickest action, you need 2 drills. You got to have an impact sometimes, because sometimes something is not coming out with this thing. And this one here, if you keep a Phillips in one and a 5/16 in the other one, and a 1/4 inch on hand, you got every bit you need most of the time. Phillips, 5/16, 1/4 inch. And so I just keep these drills handy. That way I can just back and forth instead of having to swap the bit. If I had a 3rd drill out here because my other battery's dead, I would have a 1/4 inch on it. And that may sound silly, but it actually saves time. Let me zip this loose. Perfect. 3 drills. Put my other bit in it now while I'm thinking. Let me hunt it down. Hold on, folks. I'll be right back. This here is one of my favorites. I need a new pair. I blowed this pair up, cutting stuff like loops off of copper before I had a Sawzall. But you kind of have to have big tools. This is one of your main use tools, pair cutters. But now I've got 3 drills, 1/4 inch, 5/16, and Phillips. Makes it easy, no swapping out. Now anything, when I break down something, and I went around here and unzipped about 30 screws, 5/16 screws, unzipped them with a drill. Now this top piece, nothing but tin. I'm not gonna get out here and do a bunch of sawing. Everybody couldn't handle that Sawzall as noisy as could be. What I do is I use a Sawzall as my very, very last tool, because then I know what I got left has got to be clean, because you can clean this stuff 75% and throw it over in a pile. But if you want to get your 100% of your money for it, You're gonna have to take the time of going back and chopping off the ends that are tin or brass, separating the brass from the copper.
Why is they're having a fit? You covered up their food spot.
Well, I'm sorry. Actually, I think I got something on top of their water bowl.
That's why they're having a fit.
Oh, they just think I'm out here and they want food. Anyway, my wife's out here now. She's a good worker. I'm thankful to have her. There's no doubt about that. Now, all this stuff here is basically has no electrical charge. Should be no freon in these compressors because the way they were cut loose. I will find out at one point. But these capacitors, if you cross these capacitors, you can get shocked. I've seen it happen. But what you do is you literally just come in here and snip these things one at a time. Get all your wires loose, clean all this wire. Because your wire pays about $1 something a pound, whether it's number 1 or number 2, it pays over $1 a pound. Now this here is that fan that I unscrewed from the top. 4 little easy unscrew bolts. You just take them things, and the only thing I don't like about this fan is the fact that you got to take this fan blade off. And sometimes there's a little square nut right here. Sometimes you're handy little pliers. You can crank it loose. The trick is not to cut yourself. Some of this stuff is a little dangerous if you don't take your time. But sometimes these blades slide right off, and then sometimes you just can't get them off for some reason. And then you try beating on them, and then you end up knowing that you're not going to get them off. And the scrapyard is kind of picky.
Oh, what are your sisters?
But that's the trick, is tapping them out. But I may or may not get that fan blade off of there. I'll throw this in the need to clean pile. Now the main money on this machine here, this appliance, the copper loops and stuff will pay, in the copper tubing will pay me about $5, $6, $7 just on this machine. But this compressor in here, this big black compressor down inside, this thing weighs about 75 pounds. This thing pays about 22 cents a pound, so that's about $12 to $15 worth of wire. I'll cut it out. I'll add it to one of these buckets. But all this copper tubing, you see some of it's got solder joints. That stuff will all be number 2. But if I cut it from like right here with a sawzall until it gets all the way out here to this other joint, and I cut it there as well, then I've got a piece of clean. That's just a difference of taking your time to make that extra money. If you got a lot of it, it's definitely worth the extra trouble. But this coil is loose now. Other than just the copper lines, once you take these 30 Phillips screws, you see this thing comes loose completely. Now when I get this thing loose, by cutting all these lines here, actually I'll cut this wire loose. I'll cut all this and get it out of my way. Now some of these things here, you got a bolt on them. Now me, what I do is after I get this air conditioner out of here and out of the way, there's bolts on the bottom of this thing, these 4 bolts. Now that's where I use that big red axe. It's so much quicker. But I can smack these things with that red axe right there, and they just jump out of there like nothing. That's the quickest way I've learned to do it. It's just a trick I learned from old color fella that I learned a lot about junking from in Dallas. I'm glad everybody's showing up. This is nice. I don't know how many people enjoyed watching a junking video, but it's something good to know. And it's good to know because if you end up losing your job and all you got is a truck and some gas in your truck, and you figure out where the scrap's being set out today because you know the routes of the pickups for the city and stuff, you can go find your load of junk and go clean it and take it to the scrapyard. And if you hit it hard enough, you can make a day's wage doing it. I'm living proof of that many times over. About 11, 12 years ago when, no, it was actually about 14 years ago when China started buying steel from America, the scrap prices went up to like $12 or $13 a 100 pounds, and it was great money for everybody. And then one day there was a tariff put on China, and that deal ended. And about a month later, the metal prices went from $12, $13 a 100 pounds for the 10 weight, all the way down to $1.50 a 100 pounds. People weren't even picking up scrap anymore. It was everywhere. People had just give up on the business. And I stuck it out through that. I had to take 2, maybe 3 truckloads a day to make a day's wage. Yeah, but that didn't last. Eventually the metal went back up. It has to. It fluctuates with the gas prices. It's one thing about the gas prices being so high. It does bring the price of metal up. This load here will be worth 20% more if I just hold out a couple more weeks. But it's too much stuff in my yard. I don't need the city on my case. I get enough letters about not mowing or God knows what. And my wife over there, she's cleaning, she's working this stuff. Let me get my hat out the way. She's good at this. She'll take her bucket, run around with her wire cutters, and strip every drop of wire off every bit of this stuff while I'm using the drill. We work great as a team together. I'm going to go sit on my porch for just a minute and have a drink of tea, and then I'm going to jump back in here and get to work after I read a couple of y'all's messages. Yes, I drink my tea out of a jar, out of a mason jar. I always have. I don't know what the deal is. I just like it. I like a big glass. I'm always thirsty. I don't know what to do. Me and my wife both drink a lot of fluid. She drinks some bottled waters like they're going out of style. I drink about half a gallon of tea at least every day. Let me get in here and see if I can read some of these comments now that I'm sitting still. Chat all messages. Hey, Unspecified V, what's going on? Yeah, I'm dirty, folks. That's what happens. At least I'm not bleeding yet. They're here on the table in the yellow square tub beside your drill.
Some in my console.
That's them. They're there. I put them in that yellow tub right there on the table, right beside your drill. I got all the bits out just to make it easy. I moved it because I figured you'd need it. Uh-oh, getting yelled at. It happens. I appreciate everybody showing up. I want to start doing these lives a little more often, just for the fact that no matter what they're about, whether they're junking or politics or me doing an interview, I like doing these lives, whether on StreamYard or on just right here on YouTube. But I'm trying to build this channel up just so I have 2 channels fully monetized, just so I have the option to be on the one with the hottest story as my choice. You know, I want all my listeners to be on both places. That way, if I'm talking about selections, I can do it over on my channel with the least amount of those whack-a-moles. And that's just my logic. That's what I see has been done in the past. And I don't know how good a strategy that is, but for every minute that everybody is watching my videos, whether you watch them all the way to the end or not, all that helps build my viewing hours, because I'm at about 450, 460 subscribers, and I'm not sweating getting to 1,000 to get monetized. It doesn't really matter, but I would like to get my viewing hours up over here, get more people over here to just to transfer over, to realize that I'm gonna have to be in both places to do this, because there's some stories that I'm going to talk about. And I got to figure out what's the best spot to put these stories in. And I don't want to really get whack-a-mole on either channel, but while I'm doing this game with them, I would like to at least do lives and give everybody the opportunity to listen as long as they can, as long as they want to, should I say, because all that helps get me to my viewing hours, which hopefully will eventually get me monetized here. You know, I've been doing this about 7 months now, doing the podcast 7-8 months now, I guess, and I've been monetized off and on for about 4 months of it, and it's been great. It's not a paycheck. It just it helps though. I make a couple $100 a month when I'm fully monetized. That's just honest. It pays about 4 cents a view. For those who don't know, just be honest. That's on average. But when you're monetized, but there's so many things that go on that keep a lot of your videos from being monetizable, no matter what channel they're on, and whether it be the title or the topic or something you said in your conversation. There's all these little quirks that it's a game, and it's a propaganda, censorship, you got to mind us type mentality that the YouTube is pushing at all times, and they'll beat you up if you let them, and that's the truth. But that's another story. But yeah, I would like to get as many people as I could to subscribe to both of my channels, uh, just because at this point that's what it seems like it takes, and I just want to say to everybody, I appreciate you for showing up. I appreciate you for watching my videos all the way to the end. I know I get a little long-winded sometimes, but I am trying to get the message out instead of doing several little short videos a day, which may be a better system. I don't know, but instead of doing that, I just, for time purposes here at my house with my busy life, I usually do 2 kind of long videos a day. But at any rate, uh, I'm gonna get back out here and get to junking with my wife. I'm not gonna put y'all through the whole sawzall, using the sawzall and the drill like a wild madman, but I will walk y'all around and let y'all see the rest junk. We do go to the extra mile of cleaning these coils, cutting the copper loops off the ends, and then pulling that piece of tin off of there. That way you get more money for the coil because it's clean, and you get separated copper loops, which pays $1 more a pound than the coil with the loops on it. And plus you get a little tin weight, and so you make 3 monies out of 1, and that's the name of the game here when you're sorting and separating this stuff. When you can separate a piece of metal into 3 different precious metals or 4 metals altogether versus 1 or 2, you're making more money, and that's just a fact. My wife out there working her butt off. She's working loud enough now. The cat's done moved around, which that's what needs to be anyway. Now this here is this unit right here. It's got about 25 screws in it. The compressor has already been taken out. It's that big one I showed y'all over there earlier. But I will cut this thing right here all the way down with a sawzall. Because of this flap right here, you can't get to this sawzall. So what I'll do is I'll cut it in here, and then I'll just throw this off as tin weight. This piece here, and I'll just lose the copper loops, which is not that big a deal. It's about $1 or maybe $2 you lose, but sometimes it takes a lot more time to 100% separate this stuff. This here, it's got its A coil already out of it. It's got a blower fan. Now there's an electric motor in here, but it is a pain in the butt to get them out because the blower wheel is attached to the stem of the motor, and I've just found that blower wheels at work are very, very wanted. A lot of people like to put them in their houses and put them in their barns and stuff. But I'm probably going to end up just taking it to the scrap yard. But as far as taking the motor out for that extra 3 times the money for the weight of just one piece, no, it takes too long. But my wife will probably chopping the wire out of this here directly. That's what she does. She runs around and gets all this loose wire. After I get these things, what I call shelled, loose, all the screws out. And then she has easier access to get to all the wiring and things. And we just drag our buckets around, work a team. But I'm fixing to get to work here with her, start breaking this stuff down. Like I said, there's a coil in here. Y'all probably can't see that, but when I get this thing totally zipped loose, it'll have basically one of the inside of it. Now this here you can sell like it is, but if you take all this loose, cut all this copper, cut all this, it pays much better. Wow, look at the money there. That one piece of coil right there will probably weigh about 60 pounds, 70 pounds, and $1.60 a pound, I think. You can do the math. It's probably a $100 bill by the time we get done with that machine, at least. Yeah. Heavy coil. I like it when the coils are big and heavy like that. You know you're gonna make your money. But like the wire and stuff, this stuff pays good. It pays $1.80 a pound, $1.70 a pound. This is your number 2 grade wire. This is like extension cords, what comes out of appliances, anything off the back of something. These are just here pays about $1.20 a pound. This is just a grade wire. This here is number 1 copper with one exception. That solder joint right there makes it number 2. I need to cut that off. Then you got your stainless bucket. I got a brass bucket, which I don't usually have a lot of brass, but brass is really heavy. All these fittings in here, all this stuff here, I'll have to take the saws off and just chop them right here. But first, I'll take this die cast top off. That's a big one. That's a big one. I'll take this die cast top off. It's basically a different type of aluminum, and I'll unscrew it and take it off, and then I'll chop this here with the either the bolt cutters or the sawzall, and then I'll take the tin snips and I'll cut this off, this little piece of tin, and then I'll chop this here and I'll chop this here, because this piece here, this elbow is actually brass, and that you really need to separate it to get the right money. That way it goes in the right bucket. But this is basically what we do. You wouldn't think all this little stuff in this bucket. If you sell it like it is, you get about $1 or $2 for it, because they give you like a breakage price. But if you take the stuff like this here, which weighs about 5 pounds, if you just take this one piece off right here and chop these 2 tubes off right here, and then it's all clean brass. And clean brass, like I said, about $2 a pound on average, and it's very heavy. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this thing off here in just a minute. Let me get in here and read the comments and see what people have to say, and then I'm gonna shut the thing off and get my sawzall out. It's about that time. I try to stay caught up with her. That's the name of the game. I don't want to keep her out there working. That's just not right. So I got to get busy as well. Well, thank you. Thank you for asking someone to sub you. That's nice. I appreciate that. What's up, Godwins? That's awesome. Hey, brother. Too bad we're not neighbors. I'd help you destruct it. I love destruction. Yeah, that's the fun part for me. I do enjoy breaking this stuff down. There's no doubt about it. Well, thank you, Dennis. Yeah, you really got to separate your metals. You got to sort them. You got to know what you got. You got to clean them 100% to get the right money, because the people at the scrapyard have no compassion for your situation, as far as you not knowing that your copper and your brass are not totally separated, or you got a piece of tin or a couple of screws in a $20 piece of brass that they tell you it's dirty now over 2 screws, and you get beat up at the scrapyard if you don't know what you're doing. And so I tell everybody that does this even a little bit, if you're going to take the time to clean the stuff, which is profitable, you definitely got to clean it to the scrapyard specifications to make the right money. What's up, Donald? Come visit our other live streams. I am on Mod. I'll post your link. Perfect. Sounds great. If you want to post a link after this video, because the ones in the live stream disappear. I'm talking to Unspecified V. So come back to this video after the live stream is over, and then post a link, and then I'll get it, because for some reason you're unable to keep your live stream chats. That's what I've noticed. Hello, everybody. I'm glad y'all showed up. Like I said, I got to get out there and get to work with my wife. I just wanted to tell everybody it's going to be a glorious day. We're going to break some bread today. Me and my wife, we're going to hit it hard next couple of hours. And then we'll be loading these 2 trucks like a Tetris game, trying to figure out how to stack this stuff. I always put the precious metals on top. That way you can get them off first. That way you ain't got to unload them, reload them, unload them, reload them, all that crap. But no, I do not use gloves. I got jerked out of the back of a truck one day by a pair of gloves, and ever since then I don't wear gloves. I had about a 150-pound air conditioner window unit, and I was rolling it out of the back of a truck with a pair of gloves on, and the gloves snagged in the palm of my hand, and as that air conditioner unit hit the ground over the side of the truck, so did I. It jerked me out just as quick as I had no choice in the matter. It just jerked me over the edge of the truck, hurt me real bad. I didn't get broke, but I got hurt real bad that day, and I said, you know what, I'm not wearing gloves no more, and I just been that way ever since. How much is copper paying? Copper is paying over $3 a pound right now. It depends on your grade, grade 1, grade 2, whether it's tubing, whether it's wire. Scrap has went up $3 a hundred for 10 weight in the last couple of weeks, and it's going to go up again in the next couple of weeks. And this is what I know. Hey Pamela, my cats are they're about a year old. Yeah, I probably do more recycling than all them Democrats combined with their Green New Deal crying tears. That's the way I feel about it. I care more about the planet and not just a paycheck. This is one of the things that makes me enjoy doing the junket thing is I get to give back and like sharing things that I find on the curb. I've got some cool stuff around my place here that I've just accumulated that I have managed not to give away yet. Just stuff you run into, treasures you find when you're doing this junket, and that's one of the fun parts about it as well. It's kind of a treasure hunt. But thank everybody for showing up. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Like I said, I got to get to work. I got to help my wife. I'm starting to feel a little guilty, so I'll get out here and get to making some noise. I'd let y'all watch, but actually I'll just leave it on live for anybody who wants to stay watching. But I'll be making a bunch of racket. I'll leave it on for a few more minutes, folks. I want to stick around. I do appreciate everybody showing up. I do appreciate everybody watching these things to the end. Like I said, I'm trying to build my viewing hours up on this channel. Trying to get everybody on both channels to be on both channels. And that's easier said than done for some reason. But at any rate, I'll get there. I'm going to leave this on for a few minutes. Y'all decide y'all want to duck out. That's y'all's business. We're just going to sit here and make some racket. Start sorting and separating this stuff a little better. It's always good to have a trash can close. It's always good to have a pair of bolt cutters close. Doesn't hurt to have a wipe rag because sometimes you get Freon on you. Anytime you got copper tubing, you've always got wiring, zip ties, and foam. That's the trash. That's just part of it. We try not to let any screws hit the yard because we're unscrewing a bunch of stuff. I mean, hundreds of screws today and all this zipping these ACs apart. And you just got to kind of clean this stuff, clean the trash off of it, separate the copper from the iron, pull your compressors off, them little black compressors, whether they're in the refrigerator, a food unit like this, an air conditioner, no matter how big, how small they are, they're very heavy. And they're full of copper, and I don't take the time to clean them like that. But at the same time, they're still worth more than if you don't take them out. If you just leave them in the machine, all you get is 10 weight if you don't separate this stuff, which is $11 and something hundred right now, which is all good. But me, I want all the money. And like I said, I enjoy this. I enjoy the breaking the stuff down. And if you're prepared, like you got all your buckets, like over here, all them buckets over there, every one of them got their own designation for what's in them. I got that in my head. That way I don't have to dig through this stuff and sort it twice and all that. That's why I keep a bucket of need to clean, because there's always a bucket of stuff that is needs to be finished cleaning. Like that fan over there I was messing with earlier. That thing, getting that fan blade off, may be easy, maybe impossible. You just never really know. A lot of times you can pinch these copper lines just one time, fold them, and then you can just rock them back and forth with your hand. And that's kind of dangerous if you're not watching your eyes. But just wad this stuff up. That's money. It's about $2, $1.50. Oh, threw it in the wrong bucket. I'm fired. Yeah. Got a few wires here holding me back, trying to take this apart. Now this little stainless unit looks like stainless. It's really not stainless. Very little stainless on it. I ain't mad because it ain't stainless because it's got 2 coils on it. Neither one of them very big, but it's got 2 coils. It's got a little bit of copper. It's got a compressor. Sorry about that. Got a little bit of everything. Having the right tools makes all the difference doing this. And I just learned that some things are better to use bolt cutters, some things are better to use Sawzall. One thing's good to have is a good shop vise, and I don't have one at the moment. Good heavy shop vise you mount it on the corner of a table like this table that the camera's sitting on. And then when you got your little copper tubings, you got brass fittings on them, whatever, you can just crank them down, hold them in place, and then put your hacksaw, your Sawzall, whatever, however you're gonna bolt cutters. Makes it easier not to hurt yourself when you got something held down while you're trying to tear it apart. If that makes any sense. Now, see this thing? Still 10 weight until I take this housing off this coil, and then I take these 4 bolts out of this compressor. Now this compressor, these 4 little bolts, I'll whack them one time each with the red sledgehammer, and they'll come out. Throw that over there in the pile. And so the back of this thing is clean enough for me. Now the only thing left on this monstrosity, these are the best pliers in town. I'm not gonna lie to you. Got that crooked neck on them. Those kind of small ones, not very big. That's the ones right there. You find you have preferable tools when you do stuff like this. Being patient is the trick to not bleeding to death doing this. I'm not gonna lie to you. This stuff is very sharp. You get stabbed every time you do it, you end up bleeding. Almost every time, and that's trying to be careful. Me, see, I just, instead of getting the tool out, it's just quicker to just bend this stuff, especially something small tubing like this that you can get clean. Now, I don't always get this stuff 100% clean, see a little foam on there, but they let me make it since I got a whole bucket of copper. And this here was the only thing left in this whole kind of stainless monstrosity. And this thing here, let me grab my magnet. This thing, another coil. Not too big, not too small. This right now, this is ready to, let's see here. Now these will be copper sometimes. This is something you don't know unless you find out. Look, these will be copper sometimes, and sometimes these will be iron. These little tubes right here, you got to check them on everything. I forget what the heck they're called. I know what they're called, but it slips my mind at the moment. But that's another piece of copper that you don't want to miss. So you throw little bolt cutters on them and break that sucker down. Take just a minute. Another piece of copper. Put it in the copper bucket. Now this has got its own pile with the other coils that are clean. Yeah, it's really a full-blown process to clean this stuff. So, even little bits of wire like this, you can yank it out by hand. Just grab it, yank it out, put the cutters on it. It don't seem like it weighs nothing, but it all adds up. It all contributes to that bucket that's filling up. Now this thing I'm 100% done with. It's what I call shelled. It's done. So I'm gonna push it over here in the tin pot. Just to kind of keep your brain organized. It helps when you're loading too. Yeah, I don't know how many people enjoy junking, but I enjoy the hunt. I enjoy breaking the stuff down. I enjoy, for the most part, it's tax-free. And I like that I know how to do it quick enough with the right tools. Know what I'm looking at when I bought this stuff, you know. If I didn't know I would make money on the stuff, I wouldn't have bought it. And that only comes with experience of just knowing what these air conditioners pay. I can look at these small units or even these big units and tell you, like I said, that's worth $100 bill. I may be off $10 or $15, but not really, not too much. At any rate, when we get everything totally broke down, 100% clean, all the tin separated from all the monies, all the precious metals, like this thing over here. Once we get that done, then we'll go back and finish cleaning our precious metals. One more time, just chopping the copper tube and stuff, go back with that. Cutting off our ends. This here's my next one I'm going to tackle. And we get all that done, we'll start loading trucks, get as much as we can on the big truck. And I'm going to stand up this double door refrigerator in my truck so that way we can get the rest of it on that truck. It's going to be fun. Well, at any rate, folks, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get back to work. Hope everybody's having a great day. Let's see here, what we got here. Uh-oh. Yeah, in these uncertain times, these tips are definitely needed. Yeah, you know, a microwave has a transformer in that thing that's worth a couple dollars because it's got copper windings, and it's pretty easy to take out. Well, thank you too, Pamela and everybody, for showing up. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, like I said, and in this lab, I can figure out how to turn this button off. Everybody, have a great Saturday. I'm just going to get out of here and finish getting my aggressions about our government out and do some real Green New Deal stuff, get some real recycling done, do something for our environment the right way, not with overspending. That's all I got to say. Go to Patriots, over and out. Let's see how to turn this thing off. All right, perfect.